Good evening and welcome to the Saratoga Springs Planning Commission meeting for Thursday, July 27th, 2023. I've asked Commissioner Audrey Barton to lead us in the pledge. Commissioner Barton.
Please repeat the pledge with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
For a roll call this evening, we have one of the commissioners who is absent and is excused. Commissioner Doug Wilden is not able to attend. He had another meeting he needed to go to. Now is the time for public input. There's no public in the audience this evening, so I'm going to close the public input. We're going to move on to the public hearings. Item number 1, amendments to Title 19 Land Development Code of the City of Saratoga Springs, Chapter 19.06, Landscaping and Fencing. This is city initiated and is being presented by Kendall Black. Go ahead.
Regina, can you put it up? Okay, so currently our code does not allow parallel fencing anywhere, other than like your front fence and your back fence. Anyways. So what we were doing is adding this so they will be allowed for sports courts. This is mainly the changes, and we added this all here. It still has to be 3 feet from a side fence or a rear fence. It goes around stuff like tennis courts, batting cages, pickleball courts, ball diamond backstops, and stuff like that. We're proposing a max height of 15 feet for single family and 18 feet for multifamily developments. It can't be part of any of the perimeter fence, so it has to be separate. And rear yard, side yard location. It has to be at least 3 feet from the main house or accessory structures. And then it has to be 75% open, which means like chain link fence or like mesh, kind of like the window blind, something like that, so you can still see through it. My one thing from grad school that I got taught was my SketchUp for a second. So I made this cute little thing to give you an idea of what we're proposing. These are the finding conditions. Do we have any questions on this?
Thank you, Kendall. This is a public hearing, so I'm going to open this up for the public. I'm going to close the public hearing as there's no public with this evening, and I'll open this to the commission for question and comments. Commissioner Hill.
Kendall, as I read, does this put us more in line with some of the state statutes, or is this just local?
I think each jurisdiction has their own. There's not really that I've seen anything about statewide for sports
Okay,
courts.
so it's just cleaning up the language in our existing code so that people can read and understand how
It's allowing things that we weren't allowing before.
just from personal observation, a lot of this is happening without the code. It
Yeah.
seems like I see that those parallel fences all over the place for sports courts, pickleball courts, and those types of things in people's backyards.
Yep, that's what we're trying to help to where people can have those things. So.
Thank you, Commissioner Hill. Any other questions or comments from the commission? I will entertain a motion.
I move that the Planning Commission forward a recommendation of approval to the City Council for the proposed amendments to Title 19, Chapter 19.06, with the findings and conditions in the staff report.
We have a motion from Commissioner Kilgore. Do we have a second?
Second.
Oh, go ahead.
Second from Commissioner Hill. Do we have a question on the motion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. That passes. Okay, the next item on the agenda, item number 2, amendments to Title 19 Land Development Code for the City of Saratoga Springs, Chapter 19.12, subdivisions. This is city initiated. Gina Grand Prix is presenting that for us.
I'm just going to sit right here and go through it. with you, it's really, we've added some provisions, as you can see, for standards for commercial subdivisions on the plat amendments. However, the main reason is to clean up or regarding legislative updates. So that's in number 7. However, what we've done with this is we recognize that commercial subdivisions were not allowed to further subdivide to allow for additional building lots in their developments. And that's what this allows. So we've separated out 3 is for residential subdivisions, because I believe that is the intent, is for residential subdivisions, that they can't further subdivide to create additional building lots. Whereas commercial subdivisions, we wouldn't mind that. So that's what the purpose of this code amendment is for. So we pretty much just reiterated what the standards were with a few changes. And then like I said, number 7 is just the legislative requirements for the code. Any questions?
Thank you, Gina. This is a public hearing, and as there's no public here to make comment, I'll close the public hearing and I'll open it to the commission. Commissioner Hill.
This gives us much more flexibility as they're getting into the development of commercial properties, and after they're doing their initial look-see, they can move things around, and it's a much easier process, correct?
Correct. This came up, I hate using this subdivision all the time, but Plat F is the commercial subdivision that across where Home Depot is. And the developer, they were wanting to say, hey, if we just make this one big lot, can we further subdivide it later on, or can we do a plat amendment? And we didn't have that provision in our code. However, we came to an understanding with that subdivision, and they platted it correct, I believe in a good way. However, that brought up this situation, is if commercial subdivisions have this, because what it was is in Plat F, what they wanted to do, and let me pull this up so I can show you an example. This is probably the best example to use for this, because some commercial subdivisions, they have along Redwood Road, they wanted, let me get there, if I can navigate my map. I feel like I'm off. Okay. I know. It's right here. So what they were doing was they had prospective tenants, I guess you could say, or buyers for the lots along Redwood Road, but they were still working with somebody for that between Home Depot and the lots at Redwood Road. And so let me pull up my layers. This isn't showing everything. Oh, okay. Anyways, as you remember, there's lots along here, along Redwood Road, and then they had this big section, and we thought, oh, well, we could do a subdivision exception, but then that doesn't provide a continuous, access. They would have had to done access easements, just made it really difficult. And so we talked about it, and they finally came to a conclusion of how to subdivide that middle without just leaving it as a remnant parcel, which isn't allowed in our subdivision or in our subdivision code. And so this code helps commercial subdivisions do a plat amendment to create additional building lots. And it just helps when developers are in contract with certain, businesses, and it just helps that along. That's the purpose of amending this code. With that, staff recommends approval. So,
Thank you, Commissioner Hill.
questions?
Did you have anything else? Commissioner Kilgore.
So I'm totally ignorant how this is all done. If a plat was expected to be, well, it is a certain size, and according to code, there are certain number of businesses that could fit on there. And so if the city had planned for infrastructure like water and sewer and everything to that plat, and then you subdivide into the different lots and more buildings, would that cause any issues, or because I'm totally ignorant about how that works.
Say that again.
Yeah, so if the city was expecting a certain amount of infrastructure to a particular plat, and then if it's, just assuming the size and everything, well, I guess it's still within regulate, or within.
Yeah.
So if they split it up into, like 4 or 5 buildings as opposed to what was expected, maybe 2 or 3, is that an issue for the infrastructure, or
Well,
is that not an issue?
that would be part of the plat amendment. They have to bring everything up. So if there's additional infrastructure that needs to go to that parcel or lot, that initial lot that was created, and they're dividing it into 2, then that would have to be done through construction drawings, just like, so our plat amendment process essentially follows the preliminary and final plat process. So they still have to add those things if it's not there. And that's what we're finding is, if you remember, what the process for this is for them to essentially vacate that lot and then subdivide it. So they would have to vacate a portion of the plat and then subdivide it and go through the preliminary and final plat process. This just kind of eliminates that process for commercial lots. And, we've had a couple instances in the city that's happened. If you recall, in the north of the city, it was the dentist's office up there off of Harvest Hills. They had to vacate it and re-subdivide it in order to get their lots. And they had to go in and put stub in utilities in the process of that vacating and re-subdividing, whereas this eliminates that vacation and allows them to do a plat amendment.
So the infrastructure would have been the same regardless?
They'd have to do it regardless.
It's just like this streamlines
Right.
It cuts some of the red tape out of there
does.
based on what our old code
Yeah.
was. Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Kilgore. Any other comments or questions from the commission? I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion. Based on the evidence and explanations received today, I move to recommend approval of the proposed amendments to Title 19 with the findings and conditions in the staff report.
We have a motion from Commissioner Burns. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second from Commissioner Ryan. Any question on the motion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. That motion passes. On to the next item, business item number 1, Hidden Landing preliminary plat located approximately 1200 North and Sage Hill Drive. Julie Smith is applicant. Gina Grand Prix is presenting. Is the applicant here?
She is. I didn't see a lot. Okay.
Would you like to come up and join us?
All right. This subdivision is up by the fire station on 1200 North and Sage Hill Drive. And I do not like this. Sorry. I didn't get a presentation put together for you, but just to quickly go through this with you it is basically vacating a portion of an old subdivision, an old county subdivision, and allowing for additional lots. So this is going to be on 13.2 acres. Now this is in the R10, R110, and the RR zone. It is going to allow for 30 lots, and the density on this, I did break that up for you in the staff report. There is a portion of it is 0.87 lots per acre in the RR zone for this lot 131, and then the remaining 29 lots will be in the R110 zone. So it's kind of disconjointed a little bit because they needed their open space. That's the purpose of this lot 131, and so that they could have their open space and their detention basin. Now, if you look here to this property, it's kind of hard to show, but this open space, if you recall, there's a trail down here. I believe it's Talus Ridge. Is that where it's coming from, Jeff? Yeah, so from Talus Ridge, and then it will go up to the new bike park up here, and so that trail connects. They have a playground that's going in here. they've had some challenges with slopes and so forth, block length. We've finally got that ironed out. Now, keep in mind that there is not sewer capacity for this subdivision, and therefore they're only allowed to get preliminary plat approval through the city council, but they will not receive construction drawings until that sewer capacity is available. They have signed the waiver and have decided to move forward at their own risk with this. But as far as Planning Commission and City Council, they can give preliminary plat approval. However, we won't be able to move forward until we have that capacity. They do meet all of the requirements for landscaping and the subdivision code. Other than that, I don't have any further information for you than it's different than the packet. Any questions for me?
Would the applicant like to add anything to the presentation?
No, we've been working with staff for about a year. This has been a really long, hard project. There's a big horse barn on it, if you guys remember at one time, and we've had that removed. It's had a lot of challenges, but we've worked with engineering and planning, and we're happy to finally get to this point.
Could you state your name and address for the record? Sorry.
Julie Smith, 182 South Orem Boulevard, Orem, Utah.
Okay. Gina, could you put this up on the map so we can see where it is? Mm-hmm. If we can get the map to come up in a reasonable amount of time.
Yeah, so this was old Utah County property, and the lots going west, they're all 5-acre parcels when it was annexed into the city in the A1 holding zone. And we'll be coming back asking for a zone change on the property south and west of it.
So it's, yeah. So you've got Sage Hill Drive that goes into Mount Saratoga here. And then it is right here, there's the fire station, the new bike park, and then this will be the subdivision. It goes to about right here. I don't have, so there you go. That kind of gives you an idea. Now, this, the zoning, I'd have to open up another city map.
It kind of cuts right through the middle of our property zoning.
Yeah, it's kind of about right here. There is a slope. This is one of the challenges that we've kind of been going back and forth with, is right about here. If you can see where my mouse is, there's a slope there. So the block length, that's been a challenge for this particular subdivision. But they have worked through it. So just trying to pull up mine so I can pull up the zoning for you. I don't think I've got I might not be able to.
Okay, while you're doing that, I'll let Commissioner Hill start.
Go ahead.
Gina, as I look at this, I see the 30 lots. Parcel 131, is that the retention pond area?
No, that is a 1 acre, a little over an acre lot.
Okay.
So in size.
And so are the retention ponds then going down? Was it
yeah.
LP 102?
So it's this one right here. You can see, it's hard to kind of see that, but the detention basin is going to be at the end of this, down by the trail connection here. It's this here. You can see that length of concrete that goes to the bottom of the detention basin. So this is their open space, and it does include all the amenities necessary. It meets the amenity requirement for the subdivision. Meets all of those requirements. So,
and if I may ask the applicant, as I'm looking at parcel 131, you say that's about an acre? Do you know what that's going to be used for? Is that just going to be larger?
We had to include that because we had to have the road and access going down to the open space. And so we will come back and amend that lot and make that, I believe, 4 lots.
Okay, so right now it's
Yeah,
just
that we had to
preliminary.
get a 1 acre zone.
Okay, that
Yeah.
makes sense.
So this goes back when that was one thing that they don't have the rezone on that. They're trying to get all of those properties so they can rezone it all at once. However, again, it goes back to what we were talking about previously with the plat amendment. They won't be able to do a plat amendment. They'll have to vacate this lot from this subdivision and subdivide it as its own subdivision. So,
And then these homes have a fair, going to have a nice view, are
A
they?
beautiful view, yeah.
Beautiful views, and then you come down.
Walkout basement, yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Hill. Commissioner Kilgore.
Since this is a administrative process, I always ask the applicant, are you willing to comply with all the conditions in the city's planning staff report?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And I think I asked this question last time, any idea when the Posey Lift Station issues will be resolved? Any idea from the city?
The Wander, the Oakwood development, they're working on it right now, so we don't know exactly when they'll be finished with all the improvements, but probably within a year.
Okay, so it's being worked on now then? Okay, all right, thank you. And then there was a couple red lines it was very clean, by the way, but there were a couple red lines. One was for the rollback taxes, and the other was mailboxes. Do you anticipate any issues with those?
Oh, that's fine.
Okay, all right, terrific. That's it for me, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Kilgore. Any other questions or comments from the commission? I will entertain a motion.
This is Commissioner Ryan. I move the Planning Commission forward a recommendation for approval of the proposed preliminary plat for the Hidden Land subdivision located approximately 1200 North and Sage Hill Drive with the findings and conditions in the staff report and as presented this evening.
I have a motion from Commissioner Ryan. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second from Commissioner Kilgore. Any question on the motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes. Anyone have any changes they need to turn in? I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes for May 12th, 2023. We have a motion from Commissioner, May 12th, that's what it says. Yes, that's probably wrong, isn't it? It's July 13th. Really? The ones, I'm looking at the printed version.
on the,
July 13th. Okay, do we need to redo the motion, or did we do the motion right? Okay. We have a motion from Commissioner Hill. Do we have a second? I'll second it. Second from Commissioner Barton. All in favor, or do we have a question on the motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Okay, the minutes are approved. Commissioners' comments.
I just have one thing, and I know they recognized this at the city council meeting, but I just wasn't sure if you guys would do it here or not. But Nikki got some super awesome certificate or something. What was it? I can't remember even what it was, but I wanted to recognize that because I thought it was so great. When I was watching the city council meeting, there you said something. I'm like, oh, I'm texting Nikki in the middle of it. But anyway, will you tell us what that is real quick again?
So that was my state Utah Recorders and Clerks Association state certificate.
But it's not easy to get, so tell us what you had to do to get it.
So you have to do a total of 85 points. Those points come from a combination of education and experience. For instance, like I only get like 1 point a year for my work. So, but then like some of the education can be like 1 point for 2 to 4 hours of work. Some of the experience can be, like I said, 1 point for a year, or it can be. It does take a few years.
That's awesome. Well, congratulations. I just want to mention that. So. Thanks for all you do for us as well. That's amazing.
I get the minutes wrong.
That's all I have.
Thank you. Ken, I wanted to ask you a question. I got an email here a week or two ago about the goals on the general plan.
Yes.
You want
Yes, so those of you who were involved, I think there was just 2 commissioners that were involved in our general plan committee, our steering committee last year. So we are putting together a implementation committee to review the goals that were established in the plan that was adopted last year. So we're almost a year into it now. And we'd like to do this on an annual basis, just to review the goals, make sure the plan is up to date, and so that we don't have to, every 5 or 10 years, do a comprehensive update. We can keep it updated. So I think Troy and, I don't remember.
Bryce McConkey?
Bryce was, that's right. So we would want one additional planning committee to be involved on that committee. So I don't know if you want to decide amongst yourselves. I didn't want to pick one over anybody else. So thank you for bringing that up. That was my intention to bring that up.
I guess everybody can think about it and let us know.
I'll go ahead and just state that I'm willing to let you guys take this. I'll step back and gracefully allow space to be
Okay.
there, so.
And I have time, so if no one else is interested, I have the time and interest.
Okay.
I wouldn't mind doing it either. So whatever we decide and whatever happens, it's great.
Why don't, Troy, you make a decision in communication with the other members and then let me.
Okay.
We haven't yet set a date for our first meeting. It'll probably be next month sometime.
And this is apart from the downtown task?
Yes.
It's different from the downtown.
It's just reviewing the current general plan, seeing what updates might need to be
And it
needed.
sounds really fun.
I think Commissioner Hill's got it covered here. If there's ever anything on the downtown stuff, that's where my heart lies. So I would be happy to help there.
Okay. Director's report.
I don't have anything.
Don't have anything? Do we need to go into a closed session this evening?
No.
Then I will adjourn this meeting until the next scheduled meeting. Do we have a meeting, a next meeting? August 10th. Maybe.
If there is, I will be gone.
Okay. So we will adjourn this meeting until the next meeting, whenever that is.